What's up, guys? Right now, we're going to be going over the details of the severe weather here, setting up across portions of the upper Midwest, of course. Well, that includes us, so Illinois, central northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin. So we're going to look at radar. We're also looking at the outlook today too as well. So here's the severe weather outlook here across portions of the upper Midwest today. Talking about the moderate and severe risk here across the majority of the entire area. And then you have the SIG 2 tornado risk hatch area that's across portions of the entire portions of central and northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, and southern Wisconsin. So the tornado risk mainly primary focusing across central and northern Illinois. We can zoom in on this a little bit. So it's red hatch area. There's red hatch area indicates the risk of AF3 plus tornado risk and higher. And then you also have the SIG 1 risk with 60%, SIG 1 for damaging winds up to 80 to 100 miles an hour possible with the durational scenario that does unfold across the area. Oh, guys, I'm trying to just get something shared real quick. And then we have the hail risk, which when the supercells do first initiate with the line or ahead of the line or on the southwest flank of the line, then you have the SIG risk for hail. Hailstones up to baseball as possible today with the most isolated supercells. But the wind and tornado risk here, definitely take this stuff serious because with the most isolated supercells today, we're producing up to EF3 plus strength of tornadoes and damaging winds up to 100 miles an hour today is possible as well. So let's go ahead and check out the radar here. So we got our tornado watch out, which is in red right now. We got our tornado watch. And here's our line right now coming through. And we're only about... That's the progress of the line right there. And if we measure how far it is from Chicago, that's about only 155 miles away. Now, like I said, this line could weaken if it comes more eastward extent, but the models have not picked it up that this MCS long-term wind event from overnight MCS is a lot stronger than what the models anticipated, meaning that sorry, I was trying to see if the audio was working. But that's meaning that the MCS that developed over Iowa last night, overnight, or early this morning has not weakened what the model showed it. So that means that this will either weaken and new stuff develops behind it before it reaches, western portions of Illinois, or it regathers strength and keeps going all the way to Chicago area, meaning that your supercell potential here on the southwest side here will be where your main supercell tornado threat develops on the southeast quadrant of this MCS. Now the MCS should start moving a little bit more east-northeast and kind of moving like this. In its wake, there will be new initiation for storms here, maybe developing out of southeast Iowa and northeast Missouri. But all this newer development here on the southeast quadrant of this MCS will be moving into towards Galesburg, Burlington, Macomb, Peoria, Ottawa, Aurora, even Kankakee and south of Chicago will probably have the bigger tornado threat out of this for isolated supercells because like I said, that is the southeast quadrant of the MCS. And when you have this MCS here, let's go ahead and slow this down. You see, you got this spin right here, so we'll say that this is a low, basically, acting as a low. You get this Bowen line right here, kind of bows out like this. Your strongest winds are going to be on that northeast quadrant of that, and you also get the bow down here, so you get the strongest winds with this. So this bowing line segment here, right, that's going to be where your main damaging wind threat's going to be associated with this MCS moving through. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Oops. So you got the severe thunderstorm warning there, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and that is your tornado watch probability. EF2 plus tornado moderate, high winds of 60 plus mile an hour, high. So that's your tornado watch. Now let's go over here in super res, and we'll go ahead and look at how much damaging winds we're looking at here. So there's about 50 and 60 pushing out here, 50s and 60s. There's some 60s right here, 65s. So this is weakening a little bit, and if this does weaken, that just means that the newer tornado threat develops behind us in its wake. Will develop more gradually with the warm air affecting north. That warm frontal boundary lifted north with it. So there's a lot of different scenarios here that are going to unfold. Just have to watch how this MCS either weakens or moves more northeast or redevelops more. Now we have a tornado warning down here. Yeah, now we have a tornado warning down here. So it's trying to break off from the line and maybe become its own supercell. But that's on the southeast quadrant, or south quadrant of that MCS here. But this MCS is about to come through portions of western and northwest Illinois here pretty soon. But this is a nasty bowing line of storms here. So that's how it developed across Iowa. And then you have our current warnings, that's its progress in east. So it's coming, but the question is this is the main damaging wind event, or we're going to have two rounds, because there's already stuff developing in its wake. There's already newer stuff trying to develop behind it back here. So let's look at visible satellite here. Look at a larger picture here. Okay, see that? There's some deep cloud cover here, right? For your newer tornado development to happen, it needs to be on its south quadrant right here, because this MCS is a lot stronger than anticipated this morning. So that's a lot of cloud cover coming into northern, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. It could hamper down on the tornado threat a little bit. So your tornado threat might be pushed a little bit more further south, along the I-80 corridor, maybe south is where your strongest tornado potential is going to be. But you can still get MCS, QLCS tornado spin-ups, right? So we're watching out for that. Obviously, that's where your warm frontal boundary is lifting up a little bit behind the ongoing MCS, but this southern quadrant right here is still stronger cells down there. Here's your supercell composite coming up right behind that. .925 is looking decent. Here's your hodograph map. You definitely see where that warm frontal boundary is still right here. Photographs getting a lot more curvature there on the southern portion of that. Now, if you look at the HER model just updated and kind of picked up on current convection with that MCS coming through, and it does show that, you know, there's more isolated supercells on the I-80 and south of that corridor. So 12Z wasn't picked up on it. 13Z recorrected itself currently to the current convection coming through. And you can see that it's along the I-80 corridor in south where the strongest supercell potential is going to be at. Now I'm curious what the RFS model says, because the RFS might not be picking up on it either. RFS just has a full-blown MCS coming through here, or derecho event. So RFS sometimes right, sometimes not. I don't know, her model might nail this today, to be honest. I'm curious. This is broken off from the line here, so this could turn into its main supercell. That's definitely gaining strength, but there is cells developing out of its wake now behind this, or trying to at least. So that's that tornado warning right there in the line. Check velocity couplet. There's your couplet behind the actual, so it's completely rain wrapped. Going in right into Lancaster, Missouri. But yeah, that's my take on things. Either, I mean, her model's going to be right, or the RFS is going to be right. So the RFS meaning that the stars will develop south in the southeast quadrant of this MCS. If the MCS doesn't weaken, then we'll have our supercell tornado potential here. So there's already heating happening behind this, but I think our tornado potential is going to be mainly across. This is where the warmest air is at, because this MCS is going to track with the cloud cover like this if it doesn't weaken. But behind this in its wake, there's newer supercells developing behind it, kind of moving like this out of central and eastern Iowa. So a lot of stuff to watch, see how this does fully develop, and we'll just go from there and look at visible